we've got a couple of quick presentations to make before the City Council meeting starts. And so I'm going to if you will stand up and tell us, Raul Campos is going to quickly give us a couple of updates on an upcoming event this month, which is the Filipino American Cultural Diversity Month.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are having a cultural and dinner show at the Zagazig Shrine in Altoona. And we're inviting everyone. This is on September 21st. And it will be a lot of different Filipino dances. Well, it'll be essentially a very international show, not only in performances, but also in the food. So if you love food, we have all of that. And we invite everyone to this coming event.
All right, to acknowledge that, we have a quick proclamation that reads as follows: the City of Des Moines is enriched by the cultural diversity of its citizens. And whereas on July 7, 2012, a group of Filipino American residents formed a coalition to build a strong Filipino American community in Des Moines, Iowa, calling themselves
Samahang Bayanihan.
Thank you. The National Federation of Filipino American Associations, Monsoon, United Asian Women of Iowa, United Filipino Americans of Iowa, and the Cultura Filipina of Iowa, and the
Samahang Bayanihan.
Okay. Focus is to promote culture and diversity through volunteerism and community participation for all members. And whereas the City of Des Moines is proud to recognize the many contributions that Filipino Americans have made to our community through their rich cultural heritage and food, by the way, and strong work ethic and entrepreneurial spirit. Now, therefore, I, the Mayor, on behalf of our City Council and all of our citizens of Des Moines, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2013 as Filipino American Cultural and Diversity Month, and call upon our residents to recognize and participate in all these special events. Let's give them a great hand. She was just checking to make sure the mic was on. And if it doesn't work, then we've got a problem, but it's on. Maybe it's not close. Where is it? All right. Reverend Carolyn Kane. Carolyn.
It's from North Star Line number 2, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Tell us about Prince Hall Day.
I'm a representative of Past Mouse of the North Star Line number 2, Freedom Accepted Nations, and we'll be celebrating Prince Hall Americanism Day on Saturday, the 14th at the Pilgrim Baptist Church. It's open to anyone who would like to come. We'll have something for kids to do, craft, a historical portion. We'll present information in regards to our founder, and also we'll have a luncheon on that day.
All right. So, to commemorate the Prince Hall Day, whereas Prince Hall was born in British Barbados on September 12, 1735, and later moved to Boston on March 6, 1775, Prince Hall and 14 other men of color were initiated, passed, and raised to the degree of Master Mason. This was the early beginning of what was come to be known the oldest and largest black fraternity in America. And whereas Prince Hall was an advocate for freedom and was an active civil rights fighter for the Africans living in New England at the time, he was instrumental in getting funding for the first black school in New England, Following volunteering in the Revolutionary War, he continued with his Masonic works, becoming the first worshipful master in 1775 and the Grand Master in 1797. And whereas today there are 250,000 Master Masons and 150,000 ladies of the Eastern Star and over 50,000 members of the various youth fraternities in many parts of the world. And whereas Prince Hall affiliation North Star Lodge number 2 celebrates the 238th Founders Day celebration, as the Christian has the revival, the Muslim has the pilgrimage to Mecca, so do Prince Hall Masons have annual revivals called Prince Hall Americanism Day. Whereas on September 14, 2013, we renew our strength, faith, hope in the resurrection and to extend charity to all mankind, but more especially a brother Mason. When you see us, we hope you can say, there goes a Mason, there goes a man. Now therefore, I, the Mayor of Des Moines, on behalf of the city and our citizens, do hereby proclaim Saturday, September 14, 2013 as Prince Hall Day. Let's give him a big hand. Okay. All right, Linda Franker. Linda, come on up. Talk to us quickly about Discover Your Optimal Health Day.
I am here representing Take Shape for Life, which is optimal health, weight management, healthy lifestyle. This for the first time ever. This Thursday, September 12th, is being declared as National Discover Your Optimal Health Day. We have a couple of events going on that day. We have a walk. The idea is to get enough participants, 3,300 participants, to walk 1 mile to declare walking across the United States for Optimal Health Day. And then also a healthy happy hour on Wednesday night at Clement Church at 42nd and Ingersoll in honor of National Discover Your Optimal Health Day.
Okay. I might note that Des Moines and all of our citizens are hoping to participate and make it very important that all islands seek to have better health. And whereas our nation is experiencing one of the worst epidemics in its history, the American Medical Association recognizes obesity as a disease. And whereas current statistics now show that 67% of Americans are overweight or obese, and the largest cause of illness in America is obesity, which greatly contributes to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and countless other preventable diseases. And whereas we believe the key to addressing this epidemic lies with intervention as well as prevention, and the time is now to start developing healthy habits that will help reverse the effects of this epidemic in our society. The journey to optimal health starts one step at a time, one habit, and one day at a time. A movement of thousands can begin with a single action and, quite frankly, a single step. Whereas Take Shape for Life and its team of health coaches across the country will mobilize today to boldly take that single action, we individually and collectively commit to inspire a nation to seek optimal health. And National Discover Your Optimal Health Day will be celebrated in cities all across the United States. And therefore, I, the Mayor of Des Moines, on behalf of our citizens and the council, do hope that everybody participates in Discover Your Optimal Health Day. So thank you very much and appreciate it. Hope you have great luck and appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to start our city council meeting. Okay, prior to our city council meeting this evening, we're going to have a short message from our own city council member, Christine Hensley. And Ms. Hensley, do you want everybody to stand at this time?
We can stand.
All right, and we'd ask everybody to stand to participate.
Thank you. As we're growing older, keep us from the fatal habit of thinking we must say something on every single subject. Keep our minds free from the recital of endless details. Teach us the glorious lesson that occasionally we may be mistaken, but more importantly, give us the ability to see good things in unexpected places and talents in unexpected people. Thank you.
That part was about you.
All right, I'll remind everybody that we have a nice audience this evening. Please, if everybody would, just check your cell phones, make sure they're off or at least on silent or vibrate, and we can move forward quickly. I'd ask the clerk to start by taking the roll, please.
County.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Moore. Reese. Mahaffey.
Here.
Hensley.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, item 2 is approving the agenda as presented and/or as amended.
Move.
It's been moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes unanimously. Item 3 is approving the consent agenda tonight. Those are items 3 through 38, which we will take up as a single vote unless somebody, either a council member or a member of the audience, asks to pull one for further clarification or discussion. Tonight, items again 3 through 38. Item 5, council members County and Moore vote no. Item 11C, Councilmember Moore votes no. Item 25, Councilmember Hensley wishes to speak. Item 28, we are pulling, and our Councilmember Meyer wishes to speak. Item 31, Councilmember Hensley wishes to speak. Item 37 and 37A, Councilmember Moore votes no.
Mayor, I'm a no, and I didn't get that registered. That's my fault. On 4J.
Okay, 4J. Are there any others? Anybody in the audience have anything?
Just to clarify, Mayor, I don't mean to pull it. I just want to speak on item 28, so I'll move it after we're done speaking on it.
Okay. All right. Seeing nothing, no one else, could we have a motion for the balance? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The item passes. Takes us to item 25. Item 25 is approving preliminary approval of a $185,000 neighborhood commercial revitalization program loan and $15,000 facade grant to Norris Partners LLC for renovations to 210 Court Avenue. Council communication number 13-469. Mrs. Hensley.
You know, I'm very supportive of the rehabbing of this building. One of the items that I would just like to have make people aware of is we have a large number of bars in the Court Avenue district already, and I would really be hopeful that we could work with this developer to look at a full-service restaurant or something that's not just strictly a bar. So I'm happy to move this, but I know this is preliminary approval, so I would just encourage some additional conversations with the individual and with staff to see if we can provide some assistance and guidance in that area.
You move it?
7 yes.
All right. Takes us to item 28, which is a donation agreement with Variety, the Children's Charity of Iowa, for a playground at Ewing Park and naming of the playground Ashley Oakland Star Playground. Council communication number 13-460. Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to clarify something that I received a phone call today in opposition to renaming Ewing Park the Ashley Oakland Park. We are not renaming the park. I just want to make that clear. We are simply entering into an agreement with the folks that are doing this to build a playground and name the playground the Ashley Oakland Star Playground. So I want to clarify that and maybe see if anybody wants to speak on it. I know we have some big announcements tomorrow. Did you want to speak on it?
Well, thank you again for allowing us to be here and also considering this on the agenda. As Brian mentioned, we are asking that the playground be named in memory and in honor of Ashley Oakland, and the official name being the Ashley Oakland Star Playground, but the park would remain Ewing Park. So again, if approved, we would hope to make an official announcement tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So thank you for the consideration.
All right, thank you.
With that, I'll move 28. It's a great project.
Great project.
Excellent.
7 yes.
Item 31. Item 31 is an exception to the procurement ordinance competitive bidding requirement for good cause and professional services contract with ETC, Institute for the Development of Implementation of the 2013 Resident and Business Satisfaction Surveys, $33,250. Council Communication number 13-463. Again, Mrs. Hensley.
Okay, this is a survey that the city actually engages in every 2 years, and it's just a wealth of information. And I know we've had some informal discussions from time to time on different topics, and because of some important items that are coming up before us, I just want to make sure that any of us, or if there are thoughts on questions, that we're able to get those questions and have input on those. And I'm not sure what the timeline would be for that, but I thought we were trying to keep it in line with our budget process.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Mrs. Hensley, council members, yes, there is ample time in this process to allow for deliberation about the specific questions. One of the key things about the survey is you want consistency and continuity over time, so you have comparability on the specific questions asked. However, there is an opportunity to add questions as long as we maintain the basic core questions. And we have time to do that before this actually commences. So I would encourage any of you on the council who do have suggestions or comments about that to let us know, and we'll be happy to discuss that with with the firm who undertakes the survey for us and get back to you with some final thoughts on additional questions.
Thank you. I'll move item 31. Mr. Mayor?
7 yes.
I messed up and forgot. I thought one item was going to be pulled by somebody in the audience, and it wasn't. And I'd like to go back and make a motion to reconsider item 26.
Item 26.
I'd just like to add, make a motion in regards, and that's the Roosevelt Cultural District Plan.
Okay. All in favor of going back and reconsidering item 26, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Hensley, item 26 has been pulled for reconsideration.
Okay, thank you. This is an item, we had a workshop presentation on it this morning, and since this morning, I've had the opportunity to talk with a representative from the State Historical Group, and there will be, for the first time in several years, funds available through Great Places. And we don't know what the exact dollar amount will be, but they are actually taking applications, and this plan is just an absolutely perfect plan for it because it's already been designated as a cultural district. What I would like to do is to work with the city and have this fall on the half of the ledger that goes towards the private sector, but the city would need to be a partner, and the nonprofit group would work to make the actual application. They'd work with the grant writer and work with the staff. It's pretty significant. Projects can range anywhere from $150,000 up to $600,000 in funds, and this would really go a long way in helping towards, as we saw this morning, it's a little over $700,000. So I'd just like to make that a part of the motion that we accept to receive and file the Roosevelt Cultural District. Also, the mayor had a comment this morning that we would take into account, and then that we would go ahead and send the letter that's due by October 1st, that we plan to make application for this particular project.
What's the deadline, Ms. Hensley, on the application? Do you know?
The letter, only a letter goes in October 1st. The actual grant is the first part of January.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, council members, we can, Mrs. Hindley, I think we can do that. It is a grant opportunity out there, and it's appropriate, and if there are funds available, we should try to do that. But I do want to caution everybody that this project has a fairly large city match. I think it was close to $1 million, if I recall the numbers from this morning. And that's a funding allocation that the council has not yet made. You have an upcoming capital budget that you're going to be looking at. It will be tough this year, as it is every year, to find those dollars. I personally couldn't be more supportive of these kind of projects than I am. These are great things to do for the city, but I have to just introduce a little bit of caution in terms of making funding commitments. So, for example, if there is a local match requirement that we would have to do to get these particular dollars, we would want to be very thoughtful about making those commitments at this time until the council has actually been in a position to allocate dollars for it. This is a great project. We want to try to find ways to fund it. This may be a way to do it, but there is a local match that is very significant that the council has yet to actually make a commitment on.
There is a local match. It's a one-for-one match from the city. So what I would suggest is that we go ahead and indicate that we're making the application, but then we have the meeting with appropriate staff and the 501c3, because then you've got the next couple of months to actually put in a grant, whereas if you don't submit the letter now, you're completely out.
I understand that, and so we need to get our foot in the door, so to speak, but that final commitment, the final application would carry a local matching requirement, and that's a significant commitment. And I just don't want to get the cart in front of the horse on it until council has provided that direction down the line on the capital budget.
Understand?
I'm very excited about this project and think streetscapes have made all the difference in the city, and want to see this happen as quickly as possible. I want to make sure that, did you also say that this money would go towards the private portion of?
We have to raise private dollars up to $700,000, so we've just been trying to figure out what qualifies for private, what qualifies for public. And MPO and some of those types of grants would clearly qualify for the city side of it. So I think we need to sit down and sort through that, because we do have quite a large number of other contacts on the private side, business owners and.
Yeah, I think having that conversation and figuring that out is really important. I know, and Hallie can attest, that in Beaverdale that's been a significant issue as we try to figure out exactly what counts where, and I think they've exceeded now $210,000 or $220,000 of their private fundraising, which is fantastic. But like you said, the MPO money, ICAP money, different state grants has all counted to the city side of the ledger, not to the private side. And I just want to make sure that we get that defined. Yeah.
Agree. So I'll move item 26.
All right, item 26 has been moved. Any discussion by in the audience?
7 yes.
All right, that completes the consent agenda and takes us to item 39. Item 39 is an ordinance first consideration amending Chapter 74 of the Municipal Code regarding sledding, ice skating, and cross-country skiing in city parks and designated areas in municipal golf courses and winter activities prohibited on Grays Lake. Council Communication number 13-466. Is there anybody in the audience to speak on this item?
I'll move it.
All right, item's been moved.
And since there's been no public comment and we're heading into the winter season so that we can adequately notify people, I'd move the non-pre-published schedule for this set of for this ordinance. Take the second and third reading. That really made her mad.
Yeah. It's, well, she knows it's 100 degrees outside, so she's saying, winter, what are you talking about? All right, we have a motion. Mr.
You know,
Coleman?
I think this is great because there's been a lot of cities around who have big lawsuits over accidents that has occurred, and we need to protect ourselves. So, good.
7 yes.
Item 40 is amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code, submitting traffic regulation changes as follows. A is a parking restriction on East Grand Avenue and on Locust Street in conjunction with new pavement markings, and B is a commercial loading zone on the east side of 18th Street north of Grand Avenue. Is there anyone here to speak to either 40A or B? And this was Council Communication number 13-451. Seeing none, could we have a motion?
I'll move 40A and B, and I'll move the non-pre-published version so we can waive the second and third reading.
All right.
7 yes.
That takes us to item 49. Item 49 is approving an economic development assistance contract with the Iowa Economic Development Authority and Helena Industries, Inc. for state assistance for construction of a new warehouse building at 3525 Vandalia Road, Council Communication number 13-464. And A is the first consideration of an ordinance giving prior approval for a partial exemption from property taxation on the value added by new construction at 3525 Vandalia Road. Is there anybody here to discuss the economic development contract with Helena Industries, Inc.?
I'll move 49 and 49A.
Seven yes.
That actually takes us to the hearings officially, unless we've made some changes, Mr. Attorney. We probably can't open the
Not until 5 p.m., sir.
hearing for 4 minutes. So let's have everybody get a drink of water, and we'll be back in 4 minutes. All right, this takes us to the hearing items. Actually, let's note that we start at 5:03. The items regarding property at 1300, 1310, and 1330 Keosauqua Way, Come and Go LC, Council Communication number 13-455. A is a hearing on the vacation and conveyance of segments of Keosauqua Way and Oak Ridge Drive right-of-way, subject to conditions, $13,010. One is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and two is a final consideration of the ordinance, and is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. B is a hearing on the rezoning of the property from C2 general retail and highway-oriented commercial to PUD, planned unit development, and approval of the PUD concept plan. One under that is an alternative A to prohibit the sale of beer and wine. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Or alternate B, which is under 2, to allow the sale of beer and wine. Staff recommends alternate B. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and again requires 6 votes. Let's go ahead and ask the applicant to, if they're here, if they would, to make a presentation on this project.
Mayor, council members, Colby Jones, 6400 Westtown Parkway, West Des Moines, Iowa, 50266. I'm representing Come and Go Convenience Stores. First of all, thank you very much for your time tonight. I know that we have 4 agenda items, so quick overview of Come and Go. I know most of you are familiar with Come and Go. Each of these stores that we're going to build in Des Moines will be approximately $4 million for a total investment of $16 million in Des Moines. Each store will be creating between 15 to 20 jobs, not including the construction jobs it's going to create. Each store will be built to be LEED certified. For the item that we're on right now, the Keo Way, first of all, we're very excited to be a part of the new Keo Way corridor. All of our stores in the Des Moines market do carry beer and wine, which I know is an issue with the store. We often get categorized into the convenience store world, which we are a convenience store, but we like to think of ourselves as a special convenience store. If you've been to our store in Des Moines at Southeast 14th and Deal, you'll see that we have a very aesthetically pleasing building, 4-sided brick, and not only are we a good retailer, but we're a very responsible one. We make all of our associates go through the BARS training program, as well as the ABD course for proper IDing and sales. We have gotten a lot of support from the Oak Ridge neighborhood. I think most of you have seen the letter that they have written to you. And tonight we would like to ask for your approval of this item. I'm here along with Nick Hatfield of Come and Go, who is our site development manager, and we're here to answer any questions you should have.
Ms. Hensley?
Colby, a couple of questions for you. You talked about the jobs. Could you go into more detail? It's my understanding that you, Come and Go had made some, I don't want to say special arrangements, but you were just sensitive to the needs in the neighborhood, so you were looking at carrying some additional products that might be of benefit for individuals that live and work in the neighborhood. Could you expand upon that? And then if you could just go into the liquor component a little bit more, because there's some confusion, beer and wine versus hard alcohol.
Sure. To answer your last question first, so we do carry in most of our Des Moines stores liquor. At this location, we have chosen not to do any liquor. So we are doing only strictly beer and wine at this location. And we also, as far as the neighborhood, yes, we will carry products in that store that is suitable for the neighborhood. And we've also outreached to Oak Ridge and the neighborhood to work on getting jobs from within the neighborhood to come into our store and, you know, have the products and pricing that's appropriate for the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd ask, is Mike Ludwig here? Do you want to come forward and give us a quick rundown of the process that you've gone through at the planning and zoning level and the decision that was made in recommendation by the by staff and also probably by the commission?
Sure. Mayor, County members of the council, Michael Ludwig, Planning Administrator. Yes, this item went before the Plan and Zoning Commission back on August 15th. The Planning Commission, during their consideration, first made a motion to approve the rezoning with the allowance for beer and wine sales. That motion failed 5-5. There was actually no decision then made on that motion. They subsequently made a second motion, which was to approve the zoning subject to a prohibition on beer and wine sales. They asked the applicant whether or not they would agree with that condition. Come and Go representative indicated that they did not. It was, in their words, a deal killer on the project. It would kill the project. The Planning Commission went ahead and voted on that, and it was a 7-3 vote to recommend approval of zoning with a prohibition on beer and wine sales on the property. Subsequently, the staff recommendation of the Planning Commission had been for approval of that rezoning. Subsequently, Come and Go submitted a letter for the council's consideration, which I believe is in your packet. They stated that they agreed with all of the original conditions that had been proposed by staff, as well as what was contained in the initial motion by the Plan and Zoning Commission, with one exception, and that was a requirement that there be 2 employees on duty at all times, and they'd indicated that was something that changed from when they went to Planning Commission. So they were very upfront with the commission that that was not something they were in agreement with at the Planning Commission hearing, and they subsequently submitted that letter for your consideration this evening, and it is reflective. That letter that Come and Go submitted is reflective in alternate B on your agenda tonight. Alternate A is the Plan and Zoning Commission recommendation. Subsequently today, we did receive 2 letters. I guess these 2 letters came in on Friday, as well as a petition that came in today. I believe those were provided prior to the meeting for your review. Staff did go through those letters and petition signatures, and while we're not claiming contradicting the validity of signatures, we did go through it to determine whether or not there were any owners within 250 feet of the property that had signed, because that may trigger a 6/7 vote of the City Council. We have confirmed that of the signatures submitted, it did not impact any of the ownership within 250 feet. There were no signatures opposed within 250 feet other than the Get and Go on Keogh Way, which was opposed at the Plan and Zoning Commission hearing. So no additional names, but clearly more signatures in opposition.
Okay, thank you.
What just for our information, what does Get and Go sell?
Get and Go has beer and wine sales available at their store also. They've been in existence for many years and have had beer and wine sales since well before our most recent code changes to the code requiring additional separation distance.
Okay, thank you.
And can I go back, and the petition that was submitted, Mike, because it came in late, and I think a lot of people are just seeing it for the first time here, but you had staff go back and analyze it. Could you go into more specifics? I know you said that the people didn't actually own the properties, but as I'm looking at it, it appears that there's a very large number that aren't even in the area. I mean, obviously there's some, but.
Yeah, just roughly, we counted 279 signatures on this petition. Rough math was 193 of those signatures were outside of the 250-foot boundary. Some were well outside that 250-foot boundary. There were 66 signatures that were within 250 feet of the subject property, but were not owners. They were residents in the Homes of Oak Ridge development. Okay. And then there were 20 signatures that did not list an address or were not legible on the petition for our consideration. So, but just to confirm, none of the signatures were owners of property within 250 feet.
Okay, thank you.
I know that we have some specific issues that certainly citizens want to address, but I think from the, at least from my point of view on the council, I'd like to readdress our applicants here and ask quickly if you could talk to us a little bit about the quality of this particular development. Because, you know, I think it's the interest of the city and this council to improve not only, you know, this is a major entryway into downtown Des Moines. And for a number of years, we've listened to a lot of dreams about, you know, what things could or should look like. We've seen, unfortunately, the closing of a number of businesses up there, and obviously we want to think that whatever it is that we do here is going to be a significant improvement, and in coordination with this Keogh Way corridor beautification project that the city is undertaking. So if you could kind of speak to the quality of the materials, how it's laid out, what the landscaping looks like. I mean, do you build to the same quality here as you build in some other place, or is this going to be extra special? Talk to us about that, because quality, I think, is another huge issue, and the residents down there deserve a first-class operation.
Sure. Well, we are very excited about this location. We've had our eye on this location for quite a while. We've actually had our eye on downtown for quite a while as we look at servicing the needs of people who are commuting into and out of work from downtown, the residents of downtown. As you know, there's not a lot of convenience stores. Again, with our convenience store, we have a kitchen within our convenience store. We do a lot of fresh food preparation, everything from breakfast to lunch to dinner. We have your local bread and milk products that you need for everyday use. We're also very health conscious, and we have things from fresh fruit to Greek yogurt even. And we are very excited to be in this corridor. It's now a special corridor with the plan that you and your council have put in place. And we have been working with staff to make sure that the landscaping and the aesthetics of our building and the whole site are going to comply with the Keogh Way corridor. So that would be different than some of the stores that we build. It is going to be extra special because to blend in and to be harmonious with that Keogh Way corridor, we have worked with staff to make sure that we are fitting in with that. A few extra features that we have is we are making it pedestrian friendly from the Oak Ridge neighborhood. We will have pedestrian access to our store, and the residents can go from across the street into the back of our store. We've done sidewalks, we've done an outdoor seating area. We do want to make it friendly to all of those residents. So, you know, again, aesthetically, it's going to be a four-sided brick building. It's a very good-looking building if you've seen the one that we have at Southeast 14th and Deal. And, you know, we're excited about the look that it's going to create for this corridor and as the gateway into downtown Des Moines.
Do I see that you have some pictures, or you want to?
I do have a few,
okay.
if you please. There's an aerial of the neighborhood, but if I might, Your Honor.
Please.
Nick Halfield with Come and Go as well, 6400 West Town Parkway, West Des Moines. Just to talk specifically a little bit to the aesthetic of the building, down in the lower left corner, this is part of the PUD submittal. That does detail the four-sided brick building. This is the same building. Mayor, you asked about different communities. We built this exact building on 8th Street in West Des Moines. We built it on Urbandale, off Ryder Corner in Urbandale. We built it on Southeast 14th and Deal, as was mentioned earlier. Same building there. So we're building this across the community, as well as the internal workings of the buildings. All of our buildings are standard. It's the same structure across the board. So we're very pleased with it. It is our preferred architecture. The only thing different from this is that we've now submitted to staff brick wrap canopy columns for all of our stores, which has been a requirement in the past, and it was just simply overlooked in the first. if there are additional questions about the corridor.
Talk to us about, can you show us on the site plan exactly what this pedestrian-friendly access is going to look like?
Yeah, if I'll switch, I'll overlay a little larger version of our plan. It's black and white, but you can see some of it is, there's literally a trail system coming out to the Oak Ridge Drive. Of course, public sidewalks surrounding. Part of our LEAD program works with pedestrian, different modes of transportation as well as an ADA requirement that we have at-grade pedestrian access as well, where the 2% requirements come in. So around the site, you'll be able to circulate, and then within the site, you'll be able to circulate, and we'll also have additional access routes out to KOA. A portion of what was agreed to or discussed at Plan and Zoning Commission, we have our landscaping plan, which meets the requirements of the city within. We have underground detention on the site in this area, which also takes up for the Mr. Haas property, which will remain, that is not detained today. So we're improving those items as well. Water quality is an integral required part of that, but it's also an integral part of our underground system. We've also required or agreed to work with staff and the future streetscape plan to work in the southeast and the north corner of the site on specific improvements that will tie our site into the streetscape plan. That was requested, discussed at a bit of length at P&Z, and we're happy to do that. So as that plan comes forth, we'll work with staff on that. As far as the corridor in and of itself, there were some discussions about traffic signal and whether it was warranted at Oak Ridge Drive or Crocker and KOA. We've also stated agreement to participate in our quadrant share of that if and when needed. It hasn't been required as far as the city engineers at this point to, well, it's just simply not been required at this point, but at any rate, we agreed that we would work with staff to look into that and to whatever extent that's required, we're a willing and able party.
It's nearly impossible getting out on Kia once you pull in during the rush hour traffic in the morning.
Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of a wonderful traffic corridor.
Right.
Is just that. So
yeah.
That's why we're here. Traffic lights for a convenience store are generally benefit. They do cost money, so it's good consideration for all of us. But we're at the table and ready to discuss that.
Okay.
For sure.
What is the timeline on this then?
This store,
Right.
I believe it's is it in the 14 year? So it's still in the 2014 year for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions, council members? Thank you. Appreciate your addressing at least some of those aspects. All right, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there individuals that wish to speak to this proposal regarding the site at the 1300 block of Keel Way by Come and Go? Are there folks out here that want to speak? How many folks do we have that want to speak? Just so we get an idea, I saw Terry over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10? Council, 3 minutes apiece? Okay. Why don't we, if everybody that wants to speak, please get on this south side of the room. We can move through quickly because we'd like to hear what everybody has to say. I will say that I will request that for the benefit of the public that what everyone has to say, we would like to have all new, fresh ideas. So we hope that we're not going to hear, a repetition. If everybody has an issue and everybody agrees, we'll ask that to be addressed, and maybe if you just say how many of you agree with this, and then we'll get a sense of what we have here. So if we could, with those kind of rules, if we could start, we appreciate, give us your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Susan Hayes, and I live at 1305 Essen Street. And I worked for Apple Tree for 25 years. And as a teacher, I think it would be better to go without no beer or wine so close to kids. And there's a daycare close there, and I think they should be selling that close to that daycare center. I've been at mine for 25 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Hello, lady and gentlemen of the council. My name is Richard Roosh, and I live at 3600 18th Street, West Des Moines, which doesn't matter where I live, because I am against come and go or anyone else wanting to build at this location and sell alcohol. What will make this store any less trouble than come and go store up the road? Children are our future. Please don't allow beer and wine to be sold at Kiel. It will be a mistake that can't be reversed. Let me set an example. Suppose this is close to a daycare place. Suppose a parent on the way there to pick up their children would pop into come and go and pick up a form of alcohol and maybe start drinking it while they're waiting on their child to come out. I don't think I need to say any more, do I?
Hi, my name is Caitlin Damon, and I live at 4246 26th.
Would you repeat your name again? I'm sorry.
Caitlin Damon.
Caitlin Damon.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Caitlin.
I am against violence and anything that may create it. We should enforce the no beer and wine sales within 150 feet of a daycare property line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Lori Coltrane, 1785 Emma. I'm here today to speak for several people who couldn't make it because they're working, don't have a car, or really they're just afraid to speak and be seen on TV. Because we know your time's valuable, I'm the chosen one to speak. There's many people in the audience. You'll see some with MAV shirts on. They're just supporting MAV and here to support me also. I think Mothers Against Violence is a good cause, and would like to also thank Calvetta for the shirts. We're all in favor of the come and go going in, building a new store. Their stores are big, beautiful, well lit, but we don't want the nuisances that come from the beer and the wine sales. So we're in favor of alternate A. Rezoning this property doesn't change the fact of how close they are to the alcohol. The daycares were here first, so why should they have to suffer? The city has set up an ordinance that was updated regarding liquor and alcohol and cigarette sales. All sales of this nature have to be separated from daycares, schools, churches, by 150 feet lot line to lot line. The old ordinance was 75 feet. There are Oak Ridge daycares that are 66 feet. There's one that's being built 70 feet away, and other daycares that are in private homes. Somehow I don't understand how this can be justified. I know the city is working on beautifying Des Moines, fixing the appearance, but are you really more concerned about the appearance of Keo Way rather than what's really important, which are the families, the children, grandchildren? Christine and I have spoke via email. One of the things that came up was come and go, and they are a great pillar of this community. We are all aware of this, but why don't they be the bigger person and do what's right for everyone? Either opt not to sell beer and wine at the Keo Way store, or move to a location that doesn't affect so many people in such a negative way. I checked into just one of Keo Way's stores, the one at 22nd and University. That's a mile away from this current location. They've had their alcohol license taken away twice. This year, in the last month, 3 months out of the 9 months, no alcohol. Is this something that we can expect from this store? It's a similar neighborhood. also seen the letter from the board of Oak Ridge approving this change, but certainly that's not the thoughts and concerns of every resident that lives there. As you can see, there's a petition with many people, some people not from the area that just happened to be there when we were canvassing the neighborhood. The residents think it would benefit everyone if there was no beer or wine sold at this location. They'd like to see a store that they can go pick up their gallon of milk or their bread and it not be a hinder to the children.
Lori, we're going to have to ask you to wrap it up.
I think that if you choose not to vote in favor of alternate A, this neighborhood will not be as safe and secure as it is today. You may ask me why. Why me? Why now? Why not me? I think now is the time for a change. Now is not the time to ignore the impact that alcohol has when it's so convenient. Just a 2-minute walk down their pathway.
Okay, could we have the next speaker, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
My name is Melissa Burns and I live at 1305 Ascension Street. I think a come-and-go would be great in the area, but it shouldn't be able to sell beer or wine. Since I will be having my son soon and I live in the area, I will be one of the parents sending my child to one of the Oak Ridge daycares. I don't understand why it isn't being enforced in my neighborhood. The rules should be the same in every part of town. No alcohol sales within 150 feet. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
My name is Wayne Ford, 3301 College Grove. I am here to talk about public safety. In today's article, there was an article quotation when somebody was talking about this neighborhood and public safety. They mentioned even sitting at the red lights, I would have people ask, hey, you got a daughter? At Des Moines Reticent who used to work at nearby Iowa Methodist and still regularly drives on Kill. At this point, it wouldn't really matter who or what shops down there. I wouldn't feel safe walking down there. I came to this community 40 years ago because Fluor Drive was a community that got to me. I never forget, I got off the plane in the 70s, got on Fluor Drive, I chose to play football at Drake. This is way before you beautified that street, but it looked so beautiful to me back in 1972, the reason why I chose Drake, and I'm glad I did. I've been here 40 years. But I'm also an expert on public safety. And here's some issues that you have, and I want to talk about that very quickly. I'm not here to talk about the beer or wine sale. I will leave that to Oak Ridge. They got the kids closer. This is not 6th Avenue. If it was my neighborhood, I would be here talking to you. I got the largest quick trip in the state of Iowa. The most busiest quick trip in the state of Iowa is on 6th Avenue. I wonder why. They cross the street, they're gonna build a bigger one. I'm okay with that because people are gonna get their stuff wherever they need. But I'm here to talk about public safety. Right now in Keosauqua, I deal with a beautiful street, Watson Power. I remember those streets. I knew the late, great Watson Power. But here's what you got going on. You got people who are scared to drive and park and stop at the red light. I kind of know about that, because when I was a young kid, I used to rob people who stopped at the red light in the city of Washington, D.C. Kind of know a little bit about that. That was many years ago. I'm an older man now, so I'm here to tell you the reality of what you're going to set up. Now, for the first time in my 40 years being here, we got a whole street with a lot of abandoned property. My goal and thought would be this. If come and go going to come there and build, put a community commitment on them that it's okay to have a backdoor accessibility to Homes Oak Ridge, but corporate giving, there's many nonprofits who would love to be somewhere in this community. So that lady would have an organization to stop by. Right now, Ms. Cardwell's doing a tremendous job at Homes Oak Ridge, but there are no social services over there. I kind of know a little bit about that. I'm on 6th Avenue. So what I'm saying is you make this decision, and I understand how important it is. The young kids told me this. We just had a recent situation where kids went downtown. Someone lost their life. You all know who I am. I've been talking about this for a long time. Read your news articles. I've been saying this for the last 20 years. That sooner or later, my neighborhood is going to start coming downtown. They'll start doing that. Well, what can we do about it? What can kids still walking do about it? You can put some recreational centers on that street. I talked to some kids, one of my youth counselors behind me now. She has candidly said, Mr. Ford, if we had a recreational center, a pool hall, a place where we can go, Frisk is going in, Frisk is going out. Make sure we're safe. This is how they do in my hometown of Washington, D.C. So you're to that point now. You have a lot of people who are around the country who love downtown. Downtown is beautiful. I go down there Friday and Saturday night. I see 5,000 people. Whatever you do, make a commitment to recreational and nonprofits. Thank you.
Can I just add to Wayne's comments that, Wayne, I think it would be great. We're still in the the process, the planning process, and you need to be on the committee.
I choose to. Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name's Deontasia Gunn. I am the president of the Youth Council at Urban Dreams, 3423rd and Ovid, 50313. I believe that the area that it's in, it should be like a community center. It's a daycare right there. There's a lot of kids in Oak Ridge, and then they're building a nursing center, I believe, like older people's home. So I believe that building a center would take a lot of time and things off of a lot of kids' hand and give them things to do besides doing bad things. So I feel that this recreational center should be built in this area instead of beer and liquor. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Kimberly Enos, and I live at 1305 Ascension Street. I am currently in a class studying childcare. My friends at school agree it would be better that no beer be sold so close to daycares all over the city. We are concerned about the kids and the message it brings. Thank you.
Thanks, Kimber.
Hello, my name is Amanda Erickson. I live at 2508 Watchers Avenue. I am not opposed to Come and Go building. I think their buildings are very nice, but I do not like the fact that they will be selling beer and wine next to daycares. Thank you.
I'm John Hunter. I'm with the Brown Winnick Law Firm. I represent David Hott, one of the property owners of in this project. I'm here on behalf of David Hott to say he's in support of the project. He's worked with Come and Go to improve his property as well as the properties adjacent to him. We think it's a good project, and in order for it to go, it does need the beer and wine permit. I appreciate your time and attention to this matter.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Terry Caldwell Johnson, CEO of the Oak Ridge neighborhood. Since the spring of 2013, representatives from Come and Go have met with our staff and board of directors on multiple occasions to discuss their project. During these meetings, we have discussed store design and layout and how best to complement the current neighborhood and the 39-unit senior housing project that is currently under construction. We have also discussed with them the notion of liquor, beer, and wine sales in the store. Come and Go has elected not to sell liquor at this location, which we feel is in the best interest of our residents and their families, and is a responsible, proactive approach on behalf of their corporation. To that end, we also discussed operational questions, employee training and quality control questions specific to the sale of beer, wine, and tobacco products to underage consumers. And finally, we have discussed opportunities for the sale of specific projects that are considered basic needs and not readily accessible in the neighborhood, and ethnic products that could be incorporated into their inventory to meet the unique needs of the neighborhood that is very ethnic in a diversity perspective. Not only have we found Come and Go to be responsive on all fronts, we have also agreed to identify ways that we can make the store and its operation workforce opportunities, a win-win for the neighborhood and the corporation. With the approval of this project, the Oak Ridge neighborhood continues its transformation. From the $30 million tax credit rehab of the 300 units on our campus to the $10 million 39-unit senior project that is currently underway, the $4 million community center that came online in 2012, and the $10.4 million Edmonds Elementary School that recently opens its doors to the students of our neighborhood, the Come and Go project will serve as yet another reminder of the development opportunities that exist in this community's urban core. There is no question that the nearly 1,000 residents of the Oak Ridge neighborhood would be happy to call Come and Go their newest neighbor and look forward to the collaborative potential that this particular project brings. Our board met on 3 separate occasions and voted to unanimously support the Come and Go project.
Terry, question for you, please. Could you talk about, you and I talked earlier today as I was just trying to get some more information for this evening, and you mentioned that there had been a number of meetings with residents living at Oak Ridge, and to your knowledge,
You know, it's interesting because as I looked very quickly at the list of individuals that you have before you that represented their addresses being the Oak Ridge neighborhood, there are some on there that I think are a little questionable. There are a couple on there that I know are not 18 years of age or older, and there are several that since probably that petition was developed have either transitioned or are in the process of transitioning from our neighborhood. At least 3 on that list are undergoing other processes with their housing at this point. We had the opportunity to not only meet with the folks that come and go, we have individuals on our board of directors who are actually residents in our neighborhood who represent the interests of the residents, and they overwhelmingly supported this project. We have had several opportunities at our monthly community meetings to talk specifically about this project with our neighborhood, and we have not met a single individual that has resisted this project. And quite frankly, some of the people who are listed on that petition are people who came to the meetings and suggested that they supported the project.
Okay.
Terry, first of all, I agree with what Wayne Ford said. I think the transformation at Homes of Oak Ridge is just plain awesome, and you and your staff really deserve a lot of accolades for it. Just out of my curiosity, in the Homes of Oak Ridge, do you allow beer or wine currently?
Individuals in their homes can obviously have beer and wine, yes. There's no prohibition for smoking in the residence or the utilization of beer or alcohol in their own personal household.
Have you seen any problems wrapped around that at all?
We've not seen any problems wrapped around that. To be quite honest with you, as I think has already been mentioned, the Get and Go, which has been in existence in the neighborhood for a very long period of time, it actually came in after our daycare came online, however, but before the change in the distance from a daycare to an establishment that sells beer and wine. They sell beer and wine, obviously in their establishment, and we have not really seen any net negative impact. We don't have the same sort of relationship established with Get and Go that we anticipate establishing with the folks that come and go, but I don't believe that we have seen any negative impact as a result of that. And quite frankly, I think that there's a lot of upside, not only to this project, but the potential that exists for things that we might be able to do with other corporate entities that may choose to come into the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Terry, thank you. Anyone else to speak? Seeing none, why don't we close the hearing and let's go ahead and open it up for discussion with the council. Anybody? Ms. Hensley?
I'd like to start, and I'd like to just put out on the table that I'd like to make the motion for alternative B, and I'm just trying to pull up my computer again here, so if you could show it up on the screen, that would be helpful. And I just want to talk a little bit about, because I know that there obviously are individuals that have taken the time and effort to come down and voice their opinions on this, and it's not that we're insensitive to it, but I think that it's all about having a fair and equitable playing field for Come and Go. And I know Come and Go has made a stipulation that they would not sell liquor, which is different than the other projects that they have coming before the council tonight, and so that's significant on their part. I did also have the chance to talk with Sherman Hill Neighborhood Association because there had been some questions about where Sherman Hill was going to be. Sherman Hill actually has their board meeting tonight, but they have indicated that they're remaining neutral. As long as there is not going to be liquor that's sold in the store, they are supportive and like the the fact that there would be that type of investment in the neighborhood. And that's consistent then with what Sherman Hills worked with the city council on in requiring that the other convenience store located down on High Street would not sell liquor. So there's consistency within the neighborhood. Come and Go is an excellent corporate citizen, and I'm excited about the development. We have a lot of great things potentially within the Keogh market area, and I think this is a very positive step for us, and I'm confident that they will be continue to be sensitive to and work with the residents in Oak Ridge and the leadership there. So I'm going to move item 41. It would be A, B, and it would be alternate B in B. You get that right? B2.
I think we ought to split them, A and B, vote on A first. I'm going to support the alternate B, but I won't support the final consideration on that. As many people as there are showing up here, and with this size of a petition, I think that we should go through the hearing process into the future.
I would recommend we just go ahead and vote and see if we need to split it.
Okay.
I'll leave my motion as the same.
Ms. Hensley, I would like to have Mike Ludwig quickly come up to address a couple of zoning questions. I agree with everything that has been said. I think it would be a very positive addition to the neighborhood, especially given the quality of the building and the site plan. However, Mike, could you go through under their current zoning, which I think is C2, what's the separation requirement for a place that, in this case, are there any requirements for separation between a place that sells alcohol of any type, beer and wine, and any other types of facilities, whether it be a church or a school or a daycare or whatever?
Sure. Mayor and members of the council, Michael Ludwig. The current code for in a C2 zoning district is a 150 feet of separation from a business selling beer, wine, and or liquor from a daycare, church, school, or park. So as was indicated, there is a daycare, I believe, within 65 feet of this property. But the property is over 2 acres in size. And because of the large size of properties around that, from the very beginning, we encouraged them to pursue a planned unit development for this property rather than a standard zoning and per se going to the Board of Adjustment for a variance. We knew that there could be some concern or opposition about the presence of alcohol in this area. And from our perspective, in evaluating that opportunity, the Board of Adjustment process just did not seem like as public open discussion as maybe would occur in a legislative process through the City Council. Board of Adjustment can't be contacted outside of a hearing. It's a hearing at the board meeting only, and then any appeals have to go directly to district court. And so we felt that a legislative process such as a rezoning to a planned unit development was a much more inclusive process for consideration of this particular location.
Legislative in this case, meaning talking to this body here?
Correct.
Okay. And with the idea that folks would reach out to us and explain what's going on and be able to do it as opposed to talking to a quasi-judicial body of folks, which would be the same kind of a setting really at the hearing.
Yeah, the benefit of having a planning
input.
commission meeting, there was a planning commission hearing first on this, the opportunity to come before the council. Also, we just felt it was a better process for the consideration of this particular location than going to the Board of Adjustment for a variance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mike?
I don't have a question for Mike, but I did want to speak.
Okay, go ahead. Thanks, Mike.
If someone else had something for him. I'm supportive of this at this point. I haven't heard any compelling reasons not to move forward with this, particularly the fact that alcohol is available in the same neighborhood, almost, I think, right across the street from this location. So I don't see this changing anything. If anything, I see, the market, competing interests and only increasing the responsibility of the parties involved. I am gonna be with Skip on the final consideration. I haven't heard any convincing, compelling reasons not to move forward with this, but it sounds like their timeline is until 2014, so I don't think there's a time issue with getting it through right away, and I think people deserve to have it heard 3 times.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a friendly amendment, take that as a friendly amendment, but I guess just one comment I would make. The mayors gave specific directions that the speakers should have different comments as they come up, And the only comment that was made is they just don't want beer and wine to be part of the project. Everybody agreed that was an excellent project, and they like Come and Go, but the only comment is they don't want beer and wine. And I don't know how that's going to change, because you've got Come and Go, that has said they would, they can't go forward unless they have beer and wine. So that is not going to change, and so we will have them coming for the next couple of meetings, making the same statement, and everything else is staying the same.
Yep, and I agree wholeheartedly with you. I mean, if that's the argument, like I said, I don't know that that's a persuasive argument from my standpoint, but I do think your voices deserve to be heard in this forum. So,
Mayor, I just haven't weighed in yet. I just want to quickly say I'm supportive of the store on Keogh. I think it's a tremendous upgrade to the area. I appreciate all of the people from the neighborhood that came down to speak. And, you know, one of the difficult parts of our job is trying to be consistent from neighborhood to neighborhood. We have to apply our laws and rules consistently. And in this case, you know, I think we have a really hard effort, if you say, to avoid allowing the beer and wine sales here when we have done it everywhere else. People have documented that already tonight. So to me, this is a matter of consistency in the council, you know, holding up the agreements that we've had with other people and acting consistently. Come and Go is a tremendous corporate leader in our community. At times, we've had difficulties where they've wanted to place a store, and I, for one, am appreciative of their willingness to look at other opportunities in the central business district. And many of us, several more involved than I was in that, but we're involved in trying to steer them to areas of the central business district that weren't exactly where they owned property at the time. And that's a real statement of being a good partner of the city's. And it's great that they're a local and that they're here in Iowa and here in the metro area as a, you know, highly respected member of the industry nationally. So I'm supportive. The last thing that I'd say is I appreciate Skip's point and Hallie's support of the not moving ahead quickly. I do want to just say on the record, at the next meeting, I probably could be open to voting for the final reading if the message and the consistency among the themes are the same, that we've probably heard what we needed to hear on it and could vote at the next meeting.
So the motion again would be 41 on alternate B with the elimination of the waiving the second and third.
A comment before we do that.
Sure.
I think that they Come and Go has been very willing to work with the Oak Ridge people and had a number of meetings, and they've been open to discussion and suggestions. And I think if they're not allowed to sell beer and wine, they'd be at a disadvantage when Quick Trip already is within the neighborhood and they already are able to sell beer and wine. So I'm going to support this, but I think we do need to have the full 3 readings.
City Attorney has a comment.
For clarification on the record, I just want to make clear that is the motion to approve 41A1 and B2A, that is first consideration of each of the 2 items, and not the final consideration, or does council intend to approve 41A and B2A?
41A2.
A2.
You mean?
No, I understand, but the question is the items on your
Do you
agenda.
want to have second and third readings on?
On the vacation as well. Are you timing those, or do you want to approve the vacation?
I don't know why we would have a problem with not approving that at this point.
Okay, that's fine.
That would be my intent. The only thing that we're not approving is the beer and the wine.
I think that's fine.
Is that
Thank
okay?
you.
Yep.
Okay.
Six yes, 1 no.
All right, for those that came here this evening, the item moves forward. It will have at least one additional reading. I will state that my no vote is based upon the separation requirement. And I know that you're looking for a PUD, which changes it a little bit, but I think that we, at least in my mind, we made a commitment to citizens to trying to keep alcohol sales away from schools, daycare, churches, those kinds of things. So, any rate, it moves forward despite that, and we will look forward to the next reading. But the item does move ahead, and by the way, I think the vacation passed, correct?
It did.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That takes us to the next item. Item 42, on the request from Come and Go, again, LC, for an amendment to the PUD conceptual plan, Eastgate Plaza, to create a separate PUD conceptual plan, Come and Go store number 534 on property located at 1424 East Euclid Avenue to allow for a 4,992 square foot convenience store with 20 fueling stations, subject to conditions. Are there any people in the audience who would like to speak to this? Item 42, concept at 1424 East Euclid. All right, seeing none, could we have a motion?
I would first comment that I'm very happy to get a quality store like this at Eastgate, and that I think that this hopefully be a catalyst for others to come to Eastgate. And with that said, I will move item 42.
Item 42 has been moved. Any discussion?
Yeah, before I vote, I'd like to know if you held a meeting with the Highland Park neighborhood.
Yes, sir. We did hold a meeting with the Highland Park neighborhood. We had 12 to 15 residents come out. I felt that they were all very supportive of the project, and we're excited to see some development going on at Eastgate Plaza.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item
7 yes.
Item 43, on a request from Come and Go for an amendment to the PUD conceptual plan, Come and Go store number 120 at 6304 Southwest 9th Street to revise the provision limiting the maximum canopy height in order to allow a canopy with a maximum height of 20 feet 10 inches. Anybody have any questions?
I'm sure it's in here, but could you explain why you want the additional height?
Nick Hatfield with Come and Go, 6400 West Town Parkway, West Des Moines. What we're after here, a big part of asking for your graciousness this evening and having four of our items up at once, is to show our want for consistency. And if I could show you, if you would like to see the picture of what we're up to.
What would be the total cost of investment that you're making with these projects, all of these projects together tonight?
All the ones we have before you tonight they're in the neighborhood of $4 million apiece. So that would be 16. We have one of them coming up next is quite large, and the one that is out at the northeast corner of the community, and that could creep up quite a bit higher. But at this point, so I'd say 16 to 18, depending on site constraints.
Great.
The item that was formally approved on this site is a canopy that looks like this. You can see our signage in this area. I apologize, I didn't print it in color. What we're asking is for what has been approved on Southeast 14th and Deal. Frankly, it's what we utilize everywhere, and it utilizes our signage that sticks up a little bit. Also, the area underneath our canopy is 15 foot 6 inches, and by the time we get to the top, we're at 20 foot 10 inches. There's a bit of a variable there. What we run into, the reasoning behind our want for height is literally just so we don't have maintenance issues with it. It's not high enough that it's not a big marketing ploy, or we might be shooting a lot higher. The bump, as we roughly call it, is it's not a trademark at this point, but it's definitely a standard by which we live our aesthetic life. That is the biggest reason. This elevation also reflects the 3 stages of brick color that matches directly with our building there. So that's what it was represented on the other columns as well. Happy to answer additional questions if you have.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
I'll move item 43.
Item 44, on a request from Come and Go LC to rezone 4965 Hubble Avenue from A1 Agricultural District to PUD Planned Unit Development and approve the proposed conceptual plan subject to modifications. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this plan at 4965 Hubble? Seeing none.
Is this the same style, the same building that you're building elsewhere, about, what, 5,000 square feet, or?
Yes, sir. I'm happy to show you anything.
Yeah, no, that's fine, it's same style, which is, I like the design in that. I think that's probably going to be your best location. And so I would move this.
Are you biased, Bob?
Yes. It's great to have 2 of them on the east side for a change. Something's happening.
7 yes.
All right. You had good luck tonight. All right, takes us to item 45 in the conveyance of 1349 Washington Avenue to NFC Properties LLC for $18,000. Council Communication number 13-449. Anybody to speak to this item?
Move. Bob?
Yes, we'd move that. That's old school building there that's been needing addressed for a long time on the corner of Washington and East 14.
Mm-hmm.
Great project.
I'm glad Holly is, her organization is interested in it, so. I said we're happy that your organization is interested in it, NFC. Yeah. Yeah.
7 yes.
Item 46, on a request from Quest Development and Construction and Lamont Companies to rezone 205 Southwest 11th Street from C3B, Central Business Mixed Use District, to PUD Planned Unit Development, and an amendment to the River Point West PUD Conceptual Plan to add 4.09 acres of land for future development for a 4-story hotel with 102 guest rooms at the southwestern portion of the site, while designating the southeastern portion of the site for future development, subject to conditions. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this item?
Seeing none, I'll move item 46, A and B.
And it's good to see some things happening in that area.
It sure is.
Christine?
Oh.
7 yes.
47, items regarding a request from Jake Christensen for property at 600 East 6th Street. A is a hearing on the rezoning from R4 Multiple Family Residential District to C3B Central Business Mixed Use District to allow use of the property for 103 multifamily dwelling units and 19,433 square feet of area for a skilled nursing facility and 4,392 square feet of area for a restaurant use, subject to conditions. B is an amendment to the Des Moines 2020 Community Character Plan to revise the future land use designation from high-density residential to downtown retail office core fringe. C is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and D is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this item?
Was it East 6th or East 5th?
East 5th.
Fifth.
East 5th. 600, East 5th.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Jake Christensen, 506 3rd Street, Des Moines. Just take a couple of minutes. The primary reason for the rezoning, the R4 zoning is inconsistent with the adjacent property owners. The rest of the area is already zoned C3B. And the additional reason for the rezoning is to allow us to actually execute our plan of having a restaurant on what is the main floor. If you look at the building from this vantage point, it appears to be the 2nd floor, but if you enter the building at grade on the east side of the building, the views are spectacular. It could be a really interesting place for a restaurant in Des Moines. So that's the main reason. The rest of the building is consistent with what you would expect for C3B. So,
Jake, is that restaurant for residents, or is that outside servings and that too, or what?
It's a good question. The building is made up of the tower and the nursing facility. The tower was converted about 5 years ago to market rate apartments with limited success because of the building systems being so antiquated. The skilled nursing facility, which is in existence and will continue to operate, has a requirement for meals. There will be a kitchen that will provide those meals for them. The restaurant that I was just referencing actually would be a new venture for someone. We don't have anyone in mind yet, but this would allow us to actually try and secure someone.
Mm-hmm. So you'd use the current certificate of need, so you don't have to justify that with the state for the nursing?
Correct. What is happening is there is it's in semi-foreclosure, and so the lender and the borrower are trying to transfer that to a new entity, an unrelated entity that will continue the operation. So that is above my pay grade. They're working that out, both with the state and Medicare, is my understanding. So they've got quite a bit of work to do still in that regard.
So this is not really progressive care, because you got market rate apartments or units plus then a separate nursing and then your restaurant.
Correct. I would classify it as 2 buildings connected with totally separate uses.
I think it's a good venture. It's well needed, and
So
the people
go back to the restaurant again. So you'll have a local entity that'll come in. It'll be a different type of restaurant?
Yeah, so the skilled nursing facility will have its own ability to provide their meals. This restaurant, if you'll bear with me a second.
But will there be a common kitchen then?
No.
Separate kitchens?
Separate kitchen for
okay.
the healthcare.
Can you put this image? And that is literally the view from the dining area. It seems like it could be compelling to someone to have a restaurant there. The building is a kind of a semicircle shape, and so this would be the entrance on the west side of the building for the apartments. And then here's a better shot. This is what the dining area currently looks like. And then one other part that isn't currently, if you're at the stoplight at East 4th and Grand and you look northeast, this is what you see. A giant side hill that's showing a building that's disconnected from the neighborhood. What our long-term plan to do is to convert that hillside into some additional row homes. That we would orient along East 4th as well as Des Moines Street to not only complete the development, but also connect the actual property to the neighborhood in a better fashion.
Mr. Manager?
Jake, what's your target market in terms of rental units?
In the tower, the target market will be predominantly market rate apartments. So there are no low-income housing tax credits. It's really just a building that we're trying to have stand on its own 2 feet for the most
Are
part.
you targeting an age group or household size or?
No, the apartments are general, the average apartment is about 590 square feet, so we will have a limited ability to accommodate families. It's going to be primarily single workforce housing, but that is completely the opposite on the row homes. We feel like this actually might be one of downtown Des Moines. Hubbell's having great success with their row homes. We feel like this would be a component that is not yet available in the East Village in terms of family
So these would be
housing.
market rate?
These would be for sale row homes.
Okay.
And that'd be on the west side of the existing building?
Right, so it's on the northeast portion of East 4th and Des Moines Street.
Sure.
Well, and the apartments be mostly one bedroom, or what would they?
They're almost entirely one bedroom. There are
Almost.
like 3 2-bedrooms in the entire building.
I don't have any questions. I was just going to move it. Do you have
No.
something else?
That's great.
I just want to make a comment. Jake, this is a great project. I toured that with somebody. I don't know if it was Rita or Matt or somebody, but I toured it about 4 years ago, and it was a complete and total trash disaster. And I'm glad you're taking this on. I love the idea of the row houses, and it's a much-needed project up there. I'll move 47A, B, C, and D.
Thank you.
It's 47, right? Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
I kind of want to vote against D just so we can have Jake come and sit through more of our meetings.
7 yes.
Takes us to 48, on the 2013 American with Disabilities Act ADA Sidewalk Ramp Program, Contract 2, the resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and receive and file bids, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as Tyzac Concrete, Inc., Steve R. Root, President, $417,190. Council Communication Number 13-454. A is approving the contract and bond and permission to sublet. Anybody here to speak to this?
I have some questions for Jeb.
Mayor, members of council, Jeb Dorsett, engineer.
I apologize. I meant to have this as part of my questions this morning. I don't know how I overlooked it. I did talk to Rick a little bit about it, but we have 2 different kinds of detectable warnings, and one is precast and one is cast iron. Why the 2 different ones, and is there a difference in where they would be used?
Yeah, the cast iron detectable warnings are much more expensive, but we try to use those in the downtown areas where a lot of times the snow plows, because of the tight radiuses, are cutting them across. We found that the other ones just aren't durable enough, so we've been upgrading in those higher use areas to the cast iron. But it's on a limited basis based upon kind of, where the plows are having to cut through in the large ramps.
There seems to be a large disparity in their bid and what the estimated unit price would be. I'm gonna vote for this, but I think the whole council should be notified if they come back and they want a change order on the cost of these.
On the cast iron ones.
Well, on both of them. There's quite a difference between that and the estimates. I'll move 48.
And 48A?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
7 yes.
All right, I believe that we have already
That's it.
completed 49, and if we could have a motion to adjourn. It's been moved to,
Pardon me, I know this is not like, may we have a moment to address the council
Uh,
about a very important public health issue?
certainly you can talk to some of us about whatever it is, and we'll try to work with you on it, but you need to submit a request to speak in front of the council.
Certainly,
The reason why we did not submit a request is this is an urgent health issue that has become apparent within the last couple of days, and not in time for us to meet the deadline. But it is an issue that would require immediate action on all of you for the safety of your constituents. If we could just have a minute of your time to address this issue.
Mr. Attorney?
Council can make that decision.
Council?
I'm intrigued.
I'd say a minute, and if we want to extend, we could.
Okay.
I would agree.
Step up. Give us your name and address.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Lee Peer. I'm a resident of Des Moines, 4210 Northeast 14th. And it's been brought to our attention earlier this week in the international media concerning the chemical weapons scare that's going on and practically dragging our country into war in Syria, that the chemical weapon that they are identifying is sodium fluoride. This is the same chemical that we are fluoridating our water with. Now, the health concerns and everything, I have plenty of information here that I can hand out to all the members of the council if necessary, but the information is stacking up against the health dangers and concerns against this stuff in our water. Many, many, many cities across the nation and across the globe have stopped fluoridating their water because of these health concerns, because of the economic concerns, and also because of the environmental effects that has not come up yet. I think that this is very important to get this as far as a public safety measure. If this is not exact science and we're acting irresponsibly, and the FDA considers a drug, we're drugging the public without.
Okay.
I have a motion, if it's appropriate. I'll move to receive and file your request and refer them to Bill Stowe at Des Moines Water Works.
Second.
Do you have his number?
I don't have his number, but.
Could we request a report back from Bill?
And we'd like to request a report back from Bill Stowe.
In 10-point font, no less than 5 pages.
Bill Stowe runs the waterworks.
Okay.
And that's really where you need to go.
That's where you need to go.
Yeah, that's where you need to
Well,
go.
we just figured that we'd start here with our city council members and
All right,
hopefully.
you're not the first one to come forward with this. We've forwarded previous requests from others to.
There's no way you as a council can file an injunction to stop you from using a chemical?
No.
No, that's not in our authority.
No, we don't have that.
Separate entity.
No.
So only the waterworks would be able to handle this. No other state
Board of directors.
legislation.
Yeah.
That's
All
very
right.
disconcerting.
Thank you.
Now, we have a motion to adjourn. Is that true?
We didn't vote on.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for attending.